Hello everyone. There's not much that needs to be done to actually control somebody's mind. If I say to you black dandelion or white apple, you see that in your head. You imagine that, just as if we were to have a conversation. I imagine the things you tell me. You've been to a place, you ate something with lots of blue tomatoes or whatever. I can see that in my mind. So that's simple. We already have this kind of innate mind control of ourselves. It's called imagination, where you kind of dwell into something, and it can be helpful because we use it to visualize something, maybe something we would like to happen, or how we would put the furnitures in a new apartment or something like that. It can vary from mundane, everyday stuff, and be something like Steve Jobs and people with huge visions and force wants to achieve. Now, let's imagine that I have a means to kind of get you to see yellow strawberries almost daily, on a weekly basis, in books, on TV, in the news and so on. And I even get your children to read about and see yellow strawberries from an early age. You see, not much needs to be done to control people. Just think about what fantasy books based on some historical events and myths written by some few elites have done to the whole world. Some books cause this huge organized movement, and in modern day we have the same thing going on with more what we call political IDs. But an ID is an ID. It doesn't matter if you say it came from this man in a tie or from some holy book of choice. An ID is an ID, and we are really offering up ourselves to IDs from an early age. You can see that in children, like if they somebody tells them something, they take it for face value sometimes. So you have to be kind of Socratic about it, and make them think about why do you believe that, does that person know, and so on. So what I'm trying to say is that all these technologies that are out there, which like this device I'm holding here, debit cards, online communication, everything is there. It can be surveillanced and so on. We all know this, and we always keep hearing about how the end game is just around the corner. We're gonna have chips inside of us, and that's probably possible the way things are going with the cashless agenda in some countries. But I think it's more like a fun project for whoever is intending this, or if it's kind of self-driven, because mind control and the control of a mind doesn't need to be that high-tech. As I told you, it's enough to tell you about yellow strawberries. You see yellow strawberries, and then I repeat that. And of course, yellow strawberries can be something more about who's who, what's what to do, what not to do, and what not to think about, what to question, what to question, and so on. So those are the kind of barriers we have them. You have to have that because you have an imagination. When you read a book, as I told you, if somebody is describing a scene, you imagine it. Reading is good because you practice your kind of, how do you say, play with words, with imaginations, with concentration, with attention. It's all kind of good and healthy for you, but it's also the same thing that makes you controlled. So mind is about control, and even in this kind of mindful stuff, meditation and all that, it's not about mind control, but it's kind of like control in a sense that let the thoughts flow through. it's a certain kind of control. You can say it's not a control because you don't control your flow of thoughts, but it's a control in like, yeah, I realize that I am having, you know, various thoughts, and I don't need to kind of engage in each and every one of them, and so on. So basically, awareness of this is really important. You know, nobody's born like I'm 30 years old. I'm 40 years old. I was born like this. You know, I came straight out of my mom like this. I have a job. I know all that I know, and it's all that is true. And you know, I'm kind of almost perfect and blah blah blah. No, you have to learn. And when you stop learning, you stop learning, and you do stop learning when you think you are right, when you attach to certain ideas which are not based on the real world. Now, the real world is something totally different. You see, people can get, I don't know, let's say cheated or tricked by their loved ones they've been together with like 30 years or something like that. So, you know, did that person see that coming? You know, things happen in the real world which are beyond what yellow strawberries can teach us. However, as we kind of, as I said, I'm making a fun of everyone here watching this, even including myself. We are probably above a certain age, 20, 30, 40, I don't know. We were not made like this. We were shaped like this, and we were kind of seeking ourselves along to this path. And whatever that path led you, you know, to meet, led somebody someplace else or someplace close, but it's all kind of delusion in a sense, because you have the real world and then you have this kind of mental idea of something, you know, how you think this is, how this is, how that is. And the more you engage with the real world, kind of without making the time for your or mine precious ideas, the more you actually learn about reality. And let's say emergency personnel, ambulances and so on, they don't have time to conjure up all the smart things they've read and learned. They have the real world, you know, save that person. So many of those people are kind of really based. And yeah, I'm just taking an example for emergency personnel. It can be firefighters or I don't know, policemen, some policemen and so on, but people who work with immediate risks to other people are pretty based and, you know, firm. Maybe because they are living in or working in that kind of Zen, but not Zen, mind state of some sort. So they don't have time to be smart or think they are smart. And however, okay, so mind control this, mind control that. It's always easiest to see it in other people, and you know, see how you have kind of learned about it, come on through it. But the hardest thing in the end is to realize that you are still mind controlling yourself and being mind controlled. And those definitions, those words are all just phony, because there is no difference if I'm the only difference between somebody telling me a story and me conjuring it up, and somebody pushing some kind of narrative to you through, I don't know, books, media, whatever, is the awareness, you know. It's the awareness of that's just a perspective, that's a description. It has no base in my reality. I take it for what it is, but it's not real. I mean, we all live in our own realities, and that's something that goes back to a video I did like almost 2 years ago about truth being impossible and compassion being the only possible thing in the end. And I did some kind of like just talked and sketched up some the way I see it. And I think this is very interesting, because speaking about interesting, when you get to meet people who are not of the same background, age, I don't know what, than you, but you both know that your ideas, your kind of mental whatever smart shield you have, that's kind of being between you and the world. When you are aware of that, you can actually gain some real deep insights into other people's lives and stories, perspectives and realities. But there's no way to get rid of that yellow strawberry, because it's there. And how many yellow strawberries do I have? How many do you have? Yeah, that's that's up to each and every one of us. However, be good, take care, all the best, ciao.